Alright, hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to show you how to play one of my favorite songs. This was a song I first heard when I was 13. I would listen to this record from beginning to end without having to skip a song, because every song on this album is great. And it's this song called Gotta Whine by Third Eye Blind. Now, a lot of you hear Third Eye Blind and you think Semi-Charmed Life or Jumper or How's It Gonna Be? And like a lot of bands, man, their best songs are not the hits that they had on the radio, right? So like I would highly recommend you listen to this record and listen to Gotta Whine, Motorcycle Drive-By, Narcolepsy, Want You, Background. All those songs, man, they just have this vibe and they take you to this place. Like there's such an atmosphere in these songs, and the guitar tones and just the way they were produced, it's just so cool, right? And it always just takes me to this really great place in my mind whenever I hear these songs. And so a lot of these songs on this record are in an alternate tuning, okay? And so that's what really makes this guitar part really hypnotic and kind of gives it its vibe, is this open tuning. So we're going to start out, we're going to be in this kind of open D. Alright, so just take your low E, tune it down a whole step to D. Your A and D will be the same. Then take your G and tune it down a step and a half to E. Take your B string, tune it down a whole step to A. And take your high E and tune it down to D. Alright, so the first verse, we have like one of the coolest guitar parts I've ever heard. I love this guitar part. It's so pretty. And I'm going to use my thumb. You can use your index finger if you like, but I'm going to use my thumb on the low E because it's just easier for me to move around. So what we're going to do, I'll play the first part and then we'll go over it. Okay, so I let everything ring out very clearly throughout and just arpeggiate the chords and make it sound really big and pretty and just have this kind of sonic landscape, right? He plays it a little more staccato. Certain notes ring out, certain notes don't. Some ring out louder than others, especially like the B string. But you can just kind of listen to it, play around with it however you'd like. But we'll start out with 7 on the low E. We're going to mute out the A string on all of these. We're never going to play the A string on these chords. And then have D on the 7th fret with your middle finger, G string open, and then we're going to start out by just going, hit the low E once, and then hit D on 7 with the open G twice. Then we're going to let those keep ringing, and then we're going to hit 7 on the B string twice with our ring finger, do upstrokes on these B strings. And after you hit 7 on B twice with 2 upstrokes, take your ring finger off and hit the open B twice with 2 upstrokes. Okay, so your first part you get. And then we're going to do these open strings to lead us into the next chord. We will have. I'm going to hit the open G and the open D. I'm going to do an upstroke on both of those. After you hit that open G and D, I'm going to slide in with my thumb to 2 on the low E, and we're going to repeat the same phrasing we just did on the 7th fret. Okay, so then have 2 on D, 2 on the low E, open G, hit 2 on D and the open G together, then hit B twice with 2 upstrokes, hit the open B twice with 2 upstrokes, then hit the open G to D again. And here's where it's going to change. We're going to slide into 4 on the low E. This is a cool part. Slide into 4 on the low E, and then hit D on 4, then hit open B like a quarter note. And then we're going to hit the open G to D on 4 as like an 8th note type of rhythm, okay? And after you hit G to D, hammer on to 4, hit it open, and then hammer on to 4 on B. And after you hammer on to 4 on B, hit the open E string right after it. on 4 to D on 4 to an open B, okay? Alright, let them all ring. And when you play it real fast, they all blend together, right? Alright, then we just slide back into 7, hit D and G together, and then get 7 on the high E string, and then hit the high E string open, then hit the open B string to 7 on B. Okay, so let's go through all those parts of the intro and the verse real slow. We'll start out on 7. Alright, then you just keep repeating that over and over again. And like I said, man, he plays it differently throughout. You can kind of play with it if you want, but I think it sounds really pretty just playing it like this. And then we get into the pre-chorus when the overdrive kicks on. Okay, so the last thing we'll play before we get into the pre-chorus where he kicks on the overdrive is this right here. Okay, and hold that shape. Keep down the low E on 7, mute out the A, D on 7, open G, 7 on B, and then have the high E, right? So just kick on your overdrive. And when I strum it, he kind of strums it more staccato, and he bends kind of in a funky way. So I'm just going to use my own feel to play it, and you can kind of, do the same. I encourage you, use your own feel, play it, bend it however you want. He just kind of does these weird bends that don't kind of mesh with my style of playing. So I'm just going to do it in my own little way, and like I said, I encourage you to do the same. So we're going to kick on the overdrive, and I kind of strum the low strings, and then let the high strings ring out. Just kind of give it like a little... Okay, so what I'm doing is just strum down and up, and then I just kind of rake into the bend. You can bend it however you want. Take 7 on the B string, bend it up a whole step, and then pick it, bend it up, and bring it back down and pull off. Alright, so you have... And then go down to the 2nd fret, do the same thing. 2 on the low E, 2 on D, open G, 2 on B, and then have the high E there. In this one I kind of start with the B string open, and then just kind of go back and forth between 2 on B and then open B. Okay, just kind of mess with your own kind of rhythm on it. Same thing, bend 2 on B, bend it up a whole step. Bring it down, pull off. Okay. Then we're going to go up to the 4th fret, do the same thing. Low E on 4, 4 on D, open G. Okay, and this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my pinky on 5 on the B string. Back and forth between 5 on B and 4 on B. Okay. And then just bend 4 on B up a half step. Alright, so real slow you have... Alright, so that's the pre-chorus part, right? It's just those 3 chords with that little bend and pull off on the B string, alright? And then we get into the second part of the pre-chorus. Alright, so on the second part of the pre-chorus, what we're going to do is we're going to bar the E, A, and D strings on 12. And I'm going to play 14 on the G string. I don't think he plays this, but I think it sounds really good to have the 14 on the G, and then take it off and let the open G ring, and then kind of hit the B and E strings all open with it, right? So you'd have... Alright, so just bar that E, A, and D on 12, have 14 on G, and then just do the same rhythm, right? take your G string off of 14 and then just hit the open G, B, and E. Right, you can just kind of play around with it, right? Alright, and then we're going to play this guitar part in a way you can get both sounds, the lead and the rhythm, you know, to just have it sound good and full. Because when he plays it on the record, he kind of goes like, what is it, like, whatever he does, he kind of just does a single note thing. But this way we can hit the chord and the single note line, kind of make it ring out together. So have E, A, and D barred on 7, and then have 10 on G. And just go down, down, up, or down, up. Kind of do some scratchy rhythm in between. And then go back from 10 to 9 on the G string with your pinky while barring E, A, and D on 7 at the same time. Alright, so you have. And then you can just slide off and then come back and repeat the same thing. Alright, and then he does it again, that I know, alright? Alright, so after we do that first half of the little pre-chorus part, into this part, okay? And basically we're just playing the same thing we did in the intro that we arpeggiated, and we're gonna kick on the overdrive, it's already on, and then we're just gonna start strumming real hard, right? Alright, so I just kind of go back and forth between hitting the low strings and then hitting the G, B, and E strings really hard, okay? So just have 2 on the low E, mute out the A string, 2 on D, open G, and then we'll go back and forth between fretting 2 on the B string and then hitting just the open B, and let the high E string ring out with all these chords, okay? So you get, then we go up to the 4th fret. This one's a little different. We have 4 on E, mute out the A, 4 on D, open G, and then we'll start out with 5 on the B string, and I'll go back and forth between 5 to 4 on B, letting the high E string ring out the whole time, like. Okay, and then I'm gonna add in this little vocal melody part at the end when he gets out of the chorus. So you go back and forth twice. Now the second time we play this part. To use your thumb or you're not going to be able to play it. So we have 4 on D. When you get up here, a silence I can't erase, okay? That's the part we're going to be doing. So you have 4 on the low E, mute out the A, D on 4, open G, then have 4 on the B string, okay? Then hit 5 on B once, then go back and have 4 on B, strum the whole chord twice. After you hit that twice, then go down. We're going to have thumb on low E, D on 4, open G, and then 2 on B. Okay. And after you hit 2 on B, just strum 4 on the low E and 4 on D with open G and open B also. Out that A string, right? Okay, and then on the look on her face, whatever the word is, I forget now, it goes, so we're going to do these harmonics. On the 12th fret, we're going to have A, and then G to B, up to 19, hit D on 19, and then hit 19 twice on the B string. Alright, so let's play through that whole little pre-chorus part real quick. We'll start with the power chords and then go into the rest of the chorus. Okay, so after that harmonic part, you're just going to kick off your overdrive. And it goes right back into the verse we already went over, right? Okay, so the last thing is at the very end. He kind of does this thing over the bass line, that's sort of the outro part. And he kind of just sits there and does like a... And he kind of just takes the B string on the 7th fret and just hammer on and pull off. Don't pick it. And you can kind of mess with the pressure and the intensity of the pull off and how hard you hammer on, and it'll kind of make it fade in and fade out. I use like an auto wah. He may use an actual wah pedal or a phaser to kind of make it fade in and out. But you can kind of experiment with that. But that's it, right? You can kind of mess with it. You could pull off and then go to G on 12 and then hit the open B after. There's all sorts of things you can do to kind of mess with it. And then I just ended the song with a harmonic on the 7th fret. So that's it, right? It's a great song, such a beautiful song. I love this band. Steven Jenkins, man, hey dude, holler at your boy if you ever need a guitar player, man. I'll travel the world for you. I love every song you guys have put out. So, you know, yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this band. They just kind of are right up my alley when it comes to guitar playing. But that's it, right? So just work on getting all that stuff ringing out clearly, not muting any notes or anything, and just work on your tone, have fun with that. And that's everything. Just practice slow, have fun. I'll see you next time.